How's it going? My name is Bryce, and this is my channel, Striving Intellect. And today we're going to be talking about bacteria that eats PET plastics. And this is the plastics that water bottles and clothing is made out of. Obviously, it's something that has impacted the environment and the world massively over the last, let's say, 50 or so years. And we don't necessarily have a way to clean it up. So it is amazing that this bacteria has adapted in order to specifically eat plastics, especially seeing that we can't necessarily get rid of microparticles and nanoparticles of plastic very easily. So it's an amazing find, and it seems as though these specific bacteria have actually adapted this trait all around the world, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. And maybe someday they can actually use this in order to specifically clean up the plastic in the oceans, our environment, on land, in the air. But this is a rendition of a bacteria eating plastic. I don't necessarily think this is an actual picture. If it is, it may be a real picture. It says bacteria armed with the M5 motif on their PET ACE enzyme can feast on plastic, a trait now seen thriving across the world's oceans, which obviously there's a massive amount of plastic material in the oceans. And this is actually a article on Science Daily. Plastic-eating bacteria discovered in the ocean. The source is King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. Submarines beneath the ocean's surface, bacteria have evolved specialized enzymes that can digest PET plastic, the material used in bottles and clothes. Researchers at KAUST discovered that a unique molecular signature distinguishes enzymes capable of efficiently breaking down plastic. Found in nearly 80% of ocean samples, these PET ACE variants show nature's growing adaptations to human pollution. Truly amazing. Absolutely. I mean, obviously, we don't want these to eat all carbon materials. There's a lot of things that are carbon, like ourselves, mostly carbon, that we wouldn't want these bacteria to eat. You know, we make a lot of different objects and different technology out of carbon. Again, the majority of things in the world and the universe have a massive amount of carbon in them, but still fascinating stuff. I'll continue. Far beneath the ocean surface, researchers have found bacteria that can digest plastic using specialized enzymes that evolved alongside humanity's synthetic debris. A large global study by scientists at KAUST revealed that these marine microbes are widespread and genetically prepared to consume polyurethane terephthalate, or PET, the tough plastic used in everyday items like drink bottles and fabrics. Their remarkable ability to stem from a distinct structural feature on a plastic degrading enzyme called PET ACE. This feature, known as the M5 motif, acts as a molecular signature that signals when an enzyme can truly break down PET. The M5 motif acts like a fingerprint that tells us when a PET ACE is likely to be functional, able to break down PET plastics, explains Carlos Duarte, a marine ecologist at and co-leader of the study. Its discovery helps us understand how these enzymes evolve from other hydrocarbon degrading enzymes. So obviously these bacteria didn't necessarily have these enzymes to begin with. They evolved these or adapted when, I believe, it seems as though they've come into enough contact with human debris and other things like that that are made out of PET and have evolved these specific traits. How nature's recyclers evolve. For decades, scientists believed that PET was almost impossible to degrade naturally. That belief began to shift in 2016 when a bacterium discovered in a Japanese recycling plant was found to survive by consuming plastic waste. It had developed a PET-ACE enzyme capable of dismantling plastic polymers into their building blocks, which would be carbon. Yet, it remained unclear whether oceanic microbes had developed similar enzymes independently. Using a combination of artificial intelligence modeling, genetic screening, and laboratory testing, Duarte and his team confirmed that the M5 motif distinguishes true PET degrading enzymes from inactive lookalikes. In experiments, marine bacteria carrying the complete M5 motif efficiently broke down PET samples. Genetic activity maps show that the M5 PET ACE gene are highly active throughout the ocean, especially in areas heavily polluted with plastic. I mean, the world is an amazing place. It seems that every animal on Earth, from tiny bacteria and viruses to large animals, the vertebrates and mammals like ourselves, evolve and adapt to different climate and stimuli in the environment. Absolutely amazing stuff. So I'm just going to actually read an abstract from the article in the journal. This is the study specifically by all of these individuals right here. There's a large amount of authors on this. I'm not going to butcher their names. This is who the credit's for. This is on the ISME journal, Multidisciplinary Journal for Microbial Ecology. Sorry. Lots of big words. I'm just going to read the abstract real quick. So the study was called Widespread Distribution of Bacteria Containing PET ACEs with a Functional Motif Across Global Oceans. And again, credit to all of these individuals right here. I'm going to read the abstract real quick. Accumulating evidence indicates that microorganisms respond to the ubiquitous plastic pollution by evolving plastic degrading enzymes. However, the functional diversity of these enzymes and their distribution across the ocean, including the deep sea, remain poorly understood. By integrating bioinformatics and artificial intelligence-based structural prediction, we developed a structure and function informed by algorithm to computationally distinguish functional polyurethane tetrahethate degrading enzymes, that's the PET ACEs, sorry, I probably butchered that, from variants lacking PET ACE activity, pseudo PET ACEs. Those would be the ones that are lookalikes. So they found a way of distinguishing those two different things, either due to alternative substrate specificity or pseudogene origin through vitro functional screening in vivo microcosm experiments. We verified that this algorithm identified a high confidence searchable sequence motif for functional PET ACEs compatible of degrading PET. I mean, absolutely amazing stuff. Seeing that these are all around the world, it seems like something like this could be extremely useful for cleaning up not only plastics, but other carbon forms of pollution like oil spills and other things like that. Obviously, we wouldn't want it to just eat carbon-based fuels. That would be bad. And obviously wouldn't want it to actually eat other carbon-based life forms. There's actually a theory called the gray goo theory. I'm going to go through it real quick. I think this is just a hypothetical. It's not necessarily something that is likely to happen, but I do think it's an interesting thought experiment. And the bacteria that eats carbon-based plastics, and obviously bacteria self-replicate, reminds me of this. The gray goo is a hypothetical global catastrophic scenario involving molecular nanotechnology in which out-of-control self-replicating machines consume all biomass and perhaps also everything else on Earth while building many more of themselves. A scenario that has been called ecophagy, literally consumption of the environment. The original idea assumed the machines were designed to have this capability, while popularization have been assumed that the machines might somehow gain the capability on accident. Obviously, a bacteria gained this by adaptation in evolving. That's, I guess, technically an accident. I don't think this is necessarily going to happen, but again, I think it's a really interesting thought experiment, and the bacteria did kind of remind me of the gray goo hypothetical. But I thought this was really interesting. I hope you guys also really like this as well, and please like and subscribe. Thank you.